Hello everybody, my name is Cece. Today we're reading The Wild Robot. So let's read on. Chapter 90, The Observation. Clouds scattered through the sky, spiders spun in tracked webs, berries bacon to hungry mouths, foxes stalked hares, mushroom rose up from leaf litter, turtle plopped into ponds, moss spread across the roots, vultures hunched over carcasses, ocean waves beat against the coastlines, tadpoles became frogs, caterpillar became butterfly. A camouflage robot observed it all. Chapter 20, The Language of the Animals. It started with the birds. They had always been skittish when the robot was near. They would stare and screech and then scatter. But now Roz was camouflaged. She could secretly observe their normal behaviors right up close. Roz noticed chickadees fluttering through the same flowers and singing the same song every morning. She noticed a lark who swooped down the same rock and sang the same song every afternoon. She noticed that the same two magpies sing to each other from across the same meadow, everywhere in the evening. After weeks of robotically studying the birds, Roz knew what each bird would sing and when they would sing and eventually why they would sing. The robot was beginning to understand the birds, but she was also beginning to understand the porcupines and the salamanders and the beetle. She discovered that all the different animals shared one. So that robots already know animals' language. So let's read on. So let's read on. Just wait a minute. Okay. Common language. They just spoke the language in different ways. You might say each species spoke with its own unique accent. When Roz first listened to the chickadees, their song had sounded like tweet tweedle, tweet tweedle. But now when the chickadees sang, Roz heard, "Oh, what a lovely day is it! Oh, what a lovely day is it!" I'm sorry that I stopped because my little sister came, so I stopped the video. So let's read on again. Let me see where Okay. They spoke mostly with their bodies. By simply turning her head a dew could say to her family, "Let's look for clovers by the stream." Snakes often hissed to themselves things like, "I know there's a tasty mouse around here somewhere." Bees said very little. They used their wings to buzz a few simple words, like nectar and sun and hive. Frogs spent much of their time searching for each other. One would crack, "Where are you? I can't see you." And then another would reply, "I'm over here. Follow my voice." When Roz first stumped across the island, the animals squawked and growled and chirped had sounds like nothing more than a meaningless noise. But she no longer heard another animal noises. Now she heard animal words. Chapter 21, The Introduction. There was an hour each morning in the dim light of dawn when all the island animals were safe. You see, long ago they had agreed not to hunt or harm one another during the hour. They called it the dawn truce. Most mornings, the island residents would gather in the great meadow and spend the hours chatting with friends. Of course, not everyone attended these gatherings. The bears had never made appearance, and the vultures just circling high above. But on this particular morning, an unusual large group of animals had come out to discuss some important news. Settle down, everyone. I have something to say. Super the owl hoots to the crowd by the lowest branch of a dead tree. Last night I saw a mysterious creature right here in the great meadow. It seemed to be covered in grass, so I could get a good look at it. But I think it may have been the monster. So all the animals gathered around with the owl, and the owl said, "A mysterious creature," and she took a look and she thinks it's a monster. So the mysterious creature is Ross. Because Ross is a robot and everyone didn't see a robot before. So let's read on. Looks off corners swept over the crowd. "What was the creature doing?" said Darts the Whistle. "It was speaking," said Super. It kept repeating the same words over and over again, but each time it sounded a little different. At first it sounded like a cricket, and then it sounded like a raccoon, and then it sounded like an owl. "What was it saying?" said Dick Don, the groundhog. "I could be mistaken," said Super, "but I think it was saying, 'Hello, my name is Ross.'" The crowd began to chatter. "Just where was this creature?" said Fink the fox. Everyone turned as the owl slowly pointed his wings to a grassy lump in the meadow. It was a rather ordinary-looking grass lump until it began to move. As you probably guessed, that grassy lump was Ross. She had been there the whole time, camouflaged, watching, listening, and with all the animals looking at her, she decided to introduce herself. The crowd stared in disbelief as the grassy lump started shaking and bumbling apart and crumbling apart. And there was the robot. Then, using her body and voice, the robot spoke to the animals in their own language. "Hello, my name is Ross." The crowd gasped. Super fluttered up from his branches and screeched, "It's the monster." "I am not a monster," said Ross. "I am a robot." A flock of sparrows suddenly took off, "Leave us alone," squeaked Dart as he crouched low in the grass. "Return to whatever horrible place you've come from." "I come from here," said Ross. "I have spent my whole life on this island. Why haven't you spoken to us sooner?" screeched the owl from higher up in the tree. "I did not know the animal language until now," said the robot. "Crown Points the bug has heard enough, and he slipped into the forest with his family. So what do you want from us?" growled Fink. "I have observed that different animals have different ways of surviving," said the robot. "I would like each of you to teach me your survival techniques." I don't know how to say this word. It has TECHNIQUES. I think it's techniques. Am I right? Am I really right? I don't know. So let's read on. "I'm not going to help you," screeched the owl from the very top of the tree. "You seem so unnatural." "The monster is just waiting to gobble us up," shrieked Dick Down, and the groundhog disappeared into a hole. "I will not gobble anyone up," said Ross. "I have no need for food." "You don't need food." Fink relaxed a bit. "Well, I need food, a lot of it. Why don't you make yourself useful and find me some food?" "What would you like me to do?" said Ross. "Can you hunt?" The fox smiled at the hare at the far side of the gathering. It's almost time for breakfast. I cannot hunt, but I could gather berries. The fox's smile disappeared. Berries. I'm hungry for meat, not berries. Good luck to you, Ross. We're gonna need it. And the fox trotted away. Ross looked up at the tree, but the owl had gone, and when the robots looked down again, she realized that everyone else had gone too. Chapter 22. The World. I say it wrong. It was Chapter 22. The New World. A new world was spreading across the island. The word was Ross. Everyone was talking about the robot, and they wanted nothing to do with her. I don't think I'll ever feel comfortable knowing that Ross is on the prowl. I hope Ross camouflages herself as a rock forever. Shh, there's Ross now. Let's go out of here. Ross wandered the island covered in dirt and green growing things, and everywhere she went, I said run again. I say it run again. Let me say it again. I said it run again. I don't think I'll ever feel comfortable knowing that Ross is prowl. I hope Ross camouflages herself as a rock forever. Shh, there's Ross now. Let's go out of here. Ross wandered the island covered in dirt and green growing things, and everywhere she went, she heard unfriendly words. The words would have made most creatures quite sad. But as you know, robots don't feel emotion, and in these moments that was probably for the best. Let's read on again. Chapter 23. The Wounded Fox. Oh, this fox was so cute. Look. Wow, so cute. My face, my beautiful face, somebody help. Think the fox was lying on a log, howling in pain with a face full of long, sharp squills. When Ross appeared, isn't there anybody else who can help? Would you like me to leave? Said the robot. No, please don't go. I will take what I can get. What's happened? I didn't think the porcupine could see me in the bushes. But when I went for his throat, suddenly there were quills in my face. Why did you go for his throat? Why do you think? Because I was hungry. If you had not attacked the porcupines, you would not have squills in your face. Yes, Ross, I know that, but the fox has got to eat. I just didn't expect him to put up such a fight. Look. There are even squills in my paws. I can't walk. My face is numb. I couldn't die if you won't help me. What would you like me to do? said the robot. I'd like you to pull out the squills. Ross calmly knelt beside Fink and said, I will pull out the squills. The robot started to tug on a squill, but it snapped up in her finger. Fink yelped and said, Pinch it closer to the skin. Said Ross pinched the broken squill closer to the skin, and then very slowly she pulled it out. The fox winced in pain and said through his teeth, Please, Ross, pull them out faster. This is agony. Ross quickly tugged out another squill, then another, and another. The fox lay perfectly still, eyes closed tightly, wind whistling through his nose. until every single squirrel had been removed and placed in a neat pile beside him. Fink struggled to her feet. Thanks, Ross. I owe you one. The fox smiled briefly and then he limped away. So bye.